Welcome to The Roll Call, the podcast where we dive into the roles that define us. I'm your host, John Glen. On each episode, we explore the journeys of people discovering their true roles in life, business, and beyond. Get ready for inspiring conversations about finding purpose and authenticity. Let's roll the roll call. Welcome to The Roll Call. I'm John Glen. I have with me Glen Ledwell, founder and CEO of Speakeasy Mastermind, of the Flight Club Mastermind, a new venture that we're going to get to hear about, and Mind Movies as well. I founded years ago. Serial entrepreneur, affecting hundreds, if not thousands of businesses on a daily basis through his businesses. So I'm excited to hear about Glen, his story, and what he brings to the world. All are accounted for. Let's start the roll call. Well, welcome, Glen.
Thanks, John. Nice. Good to be here, mate.
Yeah. So it's not often, I often consider myself one, I've got, John, common name. I'm white. I'm from the Midwest in the United States. I don't really have an accent. Some people may say I do. I feel pretty common. I feel like I'm a man of everyone, right? I look around and where I live, not far or straying from, from my likeness. And when I get to hear someone that has an accent from somewhere like Australia, I get enamored. I don't know why. I feel like a schoolgirl. I don't know. I just love it. So I'm going to do my best to not talk here, which I normally do, and I'm going to let you do the talking. Does that sound fair?
That's pretty easy for me to do, John. Which you don't know yet.
Yes. Excellent. And so, obviously I love sharing how how connected we are. The Speakeasy Mastermind and really the Flight Club Mastermind, I am personally not a part of, but I know many in my circle and how we got connected. Yeah. They speak supremely highly of and can point to a lot of their successes from what they've gained from the Flight Club. So, at Masterminds. Yeah. So we're going to get into that, but let's talk about Glen. How did you get here? Obviously I gave you a little, didn't hide maybe where you're from. What brings you here? And how did you get started, and how are we where we are now?
Yeah, so I won't go back too far, but serial entrepreneur, literally since I was 5 years old. I was hustling kids like a little casino with marbles and football cards at school, and it was like a business, right? It's like currency was marbles and cards, but fast forward, started my first actual business at 17. I only ever worked for one guy. I thought it was a disadvantage that I was too cocky, too arrogant, and smarter than everyone, or thought I was. So I just have to work for myself. I truly thought it was a disadvantage when I was a teenager. I started work really young when I was like 16, but I truly thought it was a disadvantage. And of course, years later, I'm like, oh, thank God I was like that.
You recognized it early enough. Yeah.
I didn't even know what entrepreneur meant, but yeah, like fast forward, many companies. I mean, I've been in business now for 40 years. I think my definitely my biggest success, and I mean real success, not just money. I mean in time and freedom and everything else that I was striving for most of my life. I started to achieve 19 years ago by say 17 years ago. So a long time. And that's when I got into the online marketing world. And that was when I started and founded, still run with my ex-wife I built it with, who's still my best friend and business partner. I still run that Mind Movies. That is a personal development company. That's what really got me into the online marketing world. And it was one of those, oh my God, what have I been doing? Right. And that just had huge success. And then fast forward, I realized I'd become a mastermind junkie very quickly. So you guys have probably heard of Frank Kern. He's been around for a very long time. He was my first mentor. In 2008, he started a mastermind and I joined that. And that I just saw this, oh my God, this is incredible. So again, fast forward, I started to do kind of a mastermind as a prize because I was big in the affiliate marketing launches and online marketing launches. So I started to do this, this party at the end of the year. And then I started doing a mastermind. And anyway, fast forward a few years of doing that, this become the thing to be at once a year to motivate partners. Basically what that morphed into me starting Flight Club, which is like couple of days of masterminding, lots of social parties, fun day. Like it was kind of like I was doing back then. Yeah. But truly, it was more through, peer pressure, to be honest. I mean, I was doing this one a year for quite a few years, and it was like, why don't you start one? Anyway, the long story short to that was I decided to do that 12 years ago. Because I did it for Flight Club, and I saw an opportunity where, I'm a very much an online guy, marketing, very much an online marketer, and which is tons of great groups that do serve that group. Right. But I found, and this is my very humble opinion, not a judgment, there's so many amazing ones out there, but I found they're all a bit big, all a little bit impersonal, broad. I felt they were all a little bit broad. But more than anything, they didn't focus on the connection part. They don't, and still don't, I don't think. They don't realize that if you've got a high level group of people, and there's a caveat, that are cool. Yeah. I can't say that any other way. Like, I think how smart you are, how famous you are. If you're a bit of a duke, a bit of a douchebag, a bit of a taker, not interested, right? And I feel they have a couple of those people in them too. Again, not a judgment. It's just, I think that's the way it is. And so I just saw the opportunity to do that differently. And I guess it worked. We're coming up to our 12th in June. It's exactly 12 years since we started. So, that's kind of then what was the other part? 3 years ago, my long-term friend and original Flight Club member, Eric Berman, approached me about starting this idea, Speakeasy Mastermind, which complements Flight Club beautifully. It's a little broader. It's a local meetup. We have 26 cities we've built so far worldwide. We connect globally. We've got about 450, 500 members in that so far. We're pretty aggressively building. Always looking for new leaders in cities. We partner with a leader in a city, runs a monthly meeting. We stay connected. So, I really, but it's more about what I really love doing, and all my experience in all these years in Flight Club, of course, we've brought into that to make it that cool environment as well.
Sure. I'm going to come back to those because they're important, but I'd love to connect back to a point you said about when success really happened. So before Mind Movies, describing what success was before that, because you said you did, you've been running businesses for, 20 years before that.
Yep.
What was the shift and change at that one that changed what it was?
So it was really, all the businesses I had, and believe me, I had a few, seemingly pretty successful. I had a nightclub, I had an event company, like they were very successful. Terrible business to be in, but financially successful. But I learned a lot too. But the point was, in with that business and every business, it's not that I didn't realize that, you don't want to be in the grind working day to day. I knew this concept, but I was never able to achieve it. I'd step away, I'd lose money. I'd go away for a weekend, I'd lose money. It's just like that particularly. And I'm like, well, this is no good. Then I had another business. I was able to just have a couple of employees. It was coffee franchises. I had a few in a couple of states. But again, I kind of still had to be heavily involved. So it wasn't until I got into the online world that and it did take me a couple of years. A couple of years wasn't bad to really have my time back, really to be able to scale, really be able to have the lifestyle. And like I said, yes, I was making really good money, but I also had the time. I wasn't, after a couple of years, I was like, I was working most days, but not 8-10 hour days and not the weekends. And if I went away for a few weeks, it was fine, So, and I've always loved to travel. So that's what I mean. All the financial stuff, of course, being able to live in a nice place and drive a nice car and go to nice restaurants and wear nice clothes. That was a part of it, but it was the biggest thing for me was being able to do those things when I want.
So what was the difference? Was it?
The difference was the medium. The difference was an online company. It's still the same. Yeah. Back then, to be honest, as much as there wasn't the technology and all that, it wasn't as easy in a lot of ways, but man, the opportunity was I wish I realized even more than I did, but it was like, don't get me wrong. It's not easy, but it's fairly simple compared to other businesses. It's low risk. You don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars. I started my movies with I think $3,500 or something.
Oh, wow.
Like it's insane when you think about that. The online world levels the playing field between you're not fighting the big corporates and with all the money. You can come in at an even keel. You can start your business in your bedroom. Like all those things made it easy to put my toe in the water and start. But as soon as I started, I saw the opportunity and the leverage from the profitability and things like that, way more than any other medium that I'd ever been in. So that made it easier. So after a couple of years of really, really getting into that, I was able to employ a few people, able to replace myself, which was, again, still difficult, very difficult. But it was, so to really answer you, it was the medium that I didn't realize kind of existed, to be honest.
Right.
If I had to put it down to one thing, it's that.
Yeah. Which then, ultimately led to you being able to have some, maybe the financial ability to, the people are what allow you to get a walk away or to step away from, right? Allow you to run, so that's what, okay. Now the masterminds, that to me, it's not, it's not I don't want to say the word. It's a word that's used and is still pretty vague. And, a lot of people can say they have a mastermind. And sometimes it's like, no, it's a catch, or no, it feels like it's, hey, I've got one of those now.
Right.
So what is a mastermind for those that don't know? And like Flight Club, what actually is it and what does it do?
And, and that's a really good point. Masterminds thrown out like a seminar, they call a mastermind. Again, my humble opinion, look up the definition. That's not. To me, a mastermind is exactly what Flight Club is. And I say a real mastermind because I don't believe 150, 200 people watching presentations all day is a real mastermind. I'm sorry, but I just don't. That is full of great people. That's a small, amazing event. It's not a mastermind. You're not collaborating with each other. So we're different with Flight Club. We have a lot of social, very strategic social, because I see the biggest value in a real mastermind is learning from each other and connecting. Not particularly, doesn't matter if you're going to do business together, but learning from each other, helping each other. So I was very aware of that very, very early on. So we definitely focus on that a lot more than the others. We do breakout groups and sharing biggest challenges and wins in business and different topics. And we break into tables. And we only have about 50, 60 people, which again is a big difference. Like you can come to one of our events and walk away with 20, 30, 40 new friends, not someone you saw, someone you had time to actually connect with. So to me, that's what there's lots of versions of what I would call a real mastermind. But if the biggest component of it, or one of the biggest components of it, isn't collaborating and helping each other, I don't see that it is a real mastermind. It's a meeting of the minds. That's what a mastermind is meant to be, right?
Right. No, and actually that was the reflection I said, because I think you started before it was cool, right?
Yeah, like, you know what? There was a couple back then. I mean, in our world, there was War Room, which was great. I was in that for like 10 years. There was it was bigger though, but it was very good. Mavericks, which is still around. It's kind of the fun and the social. And to be honest, I took the good things that I found from those two groups and thought, imagine if I did that and that, made it more intimate, focused more on connection. That's kind of where I got the idea. But there was, Genius Network's been around for years as well. That's a good one too. But you're right. There wasn't dozens. There was a few,
Right.
But yeah.
Awesome.
And I think there's less now, though. I think it's a few have finished up. Like it's interesting. I mean, the last couple of years, climate's been tough. Everyone's felt it.
And then that's been the reflection. I've been a part of a handful of groups that have tried to start up, right, in niche marketplaces. Maybe not consider themselves a mastermind, or trying to maybe facilitate in the same way. And if not, I think that's where probably you come in from a different angle, where a lot of it is online presence and how do you gain clients. Like you get that magic. You know how that works. And if you don't have that part of it, it's tough to get it off the ground, because you're selling something that some people don't value until they can, I'm suggesting, or potentially, they don't know the value until they've heard someone else what the value might be.
Totally.
Right. So you have to get started. And then the longevity of it, you have to keep giving value. And I think to make it worthwhile, right? I've been a part of Vistage, friends in EO or YPO and things like that, where all of them give value in different ways. But if the value isn't seen anymore, because the more we grow as entrepreneurs or, in our businesses, we tend to need less, or we believe we need less mentoring and whatever, right? Because all right, we've learned it, we've done it. So you have to keep sharpening the saw and the tool for all of your members, unless you want them to graduate off and do something else. And so I believe that's why potentially a lot of these might not have the longevity, is because you have to remain relevant to everyone, to new folks and to other folks. And then your model, which I think is interesting, is they don't run out of things to learn if they're learning off each other, right? Versus you, like you said, spin presentations at you all day.
Yeah, you're right. And honestly, when I started Flight Club, I had I had 10 or 12 presentations in 2 days, and it was, you want to over deliver, and it was so crazy. I'm like, but when I'm at one of those events, I don't stay in the room. You can't stay in the room all that time. So over the years, I scaled that down to about 3 per day in the 2 days. And now we do 2 or 3 maximum. So there's only 4 in 2 days, and all the rest is breakouts, and it is enough. Yeah. It's more than enough. Don't get me wrong. They've got to be kick ass. They've got to be amazing.
High impact. Yeah.
You're right. To your point, the content's got to be relevant. It's got to be, wow, I didn't know that. That's going to help me. Yeah. But to your exact point, the conversations around that sometimes are even more,
Yeah. So now transitioning into what's the difference between that and the speakeasy mastermind? So
speakeasy is a much broader. It's a local meetup. So Flight Club's it's a $20,000, $30,000 membership. So it's a different entrepreneur, right? Your business is in a place where that's kind of a no-brainer, Yep. But we meet 3 times a year for 3 days, and we stay connected. It's very intense in that way. And kind of this level. Speakeasy is this level. There's no beginners or anything in speakeasy. Speakeasy is a very high level entrepreneur as well. But it's a bit broader in the way, you don't have to be a digital marketer. You can be in any kind of business. As long as you're kind of marketing centric, we call it, into business development, and you can afford $4,000 to $6,000 a year, your business can afford. That makes it financially a fit. The other big thing that Speakeasy has, even that Flight Club doesn't, it's local. So, I find with Flight Club, some people might have the money, but maybe their business is in their level, but they can't get away for 4 days or something 3 times a year. You know what I mean? Maybe their families and, all that kind of stuff. So Speakeasy is really, really easy. It's in your local town, 3 hours on a weeknight. On a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at an office space or someone's house, and it's very intimate. 15 to kind of 30 people is the maximum, but it's a very structured 3 hour. Now, of course, that's not like Flight Club, right? When you've got 3 days, night, day, and but it has a very intimate feel. We obviously structure it so people it's a very structured mastermind. Sure, some networking, sure, some food, some drinks, but it's a very structured mastermind. Again, sharing a topic, as a miniver, sharing a topic, talking about your wins, your challenges. Does anyone need a hot seat? Things like that. But it's a beautiful, why I was so interested in starting Speakeasy with my partner. I saw it as a beautiful compliment to Flight Club, or instead of, or a great compliment,
Awesome. No, that's great. And you say you're in 26 cities, I think you said?
Yep. Obviously, mostly in the US, but we are expanding. We've got a couple in Canada. We're going into, Central South America. We've got London about to open. We've got Dubai about to open. We've got Sydney about to open. So we are really spreading. I travel all the time. So it's I'm kind of really pushing the Europe part. But we want that. We want it to be I'm going to go to London. Oh, let's look in my app. When's the Speakeasy on? I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Sydney. Of course, there's tons already all over the US, but we're opening cities every month, new cities every month.
And if I'm not mistaken, so your model, I can't remember if we were on camera or off, your model to move to a new city. How do you do that?
Yeah. So basically what we do, we're always looking for, we call them captains, the leaders. What we do, we identify a leader, someone with credibility, someone that's got influence with people, that's a little bit organized. Obviously, it's a decent level entrepreneur. And we partner with that person. And we have all the ways to do it, how we start with a small group, and then we do a launch, and we obviously coach the leader through all that. But end of the day, that leader runs the monthly meeting, and we basically split the revenue with them and make it worth their while as well. So that's how we identify a city. It's not, oh, we want that city. Oh, we know someone cool in that city. Great, let's go to that city.
Yeah. Oh, very good. I should know this. Is there one in Detroit?
There is not yet. No, there is not. 2 just opened in New York. Philly, which is about to open. They're the closest kind of there. No, absolutely. We don't have anyone in Detroit.
All right. That's for another time.
Yeah.
But, now let's move forward to this other new venture you have that I know you've got some excitement around. What's that all about?
Yeah, well, what I've realized, anyone who's been in this world certainly knows the last few years have just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, geez, is this ever going to turn around? Like, my God, we could talk for 2 hours about why that is. My whole event last weekend before last was about why this is and how to fix it. FYI, it's all to do with AI, but in a positive and a negative way. But what I realized, it's like, okay, nothing's the same. And then the long story short to this, an old colleague of mine had been building this AI platform for a few years. I didn't even realize he was one of my media buyers. He approached me and I started using this product. And basically it's an AI reach out tool or set of tools. But basically it's very personalized because he spent a couple of years training it on messaging, which makes it's not that canned thing. We all get those responses on Instagram or particularly on LinkedIn, and we get email. We all get them, right? This is very, very different. But anyway, I saw the opportunity based on what I was just saying. I'm like, well, what's the biggest problem we have? We can't get qualified leads at a decent cost. That's it. If any of the businesses I've ever been involved in have that, the business is good. Right. What's the problem now? Can't get leads cheap enough that are qualified. Right. That convert. That's the problem, right? So again, the long story short to that, when I saw the opportunity and I started using this in the 2 masterminds, actually, I started using it. I'm like, oh my God, as much as I don't want to build another company, this is the biggest opportunity there is right now. Mm-hmm. It is the thing that everyone wants and needs, So I'm like, well, that'd be a pretty easy thing to sell. So I started, I put we're like an umbrella under the parent company, but we're like the main marketing arm now of that company called getqualifiedleads.ai. And I'm really pumped about that. We're B2B, medium to high ticket. Why? Because that's what we spent 2 years training the messaging, thousands of SKUs training the AI on that messaging. So basically what we do, we just identify your ideal avatar. We train the AI, we train it on messaging. It goes out, finds your ideal customers. Then it researches those leads on a very personal level, finds out everything about them, then starts in a very personal, targeted way, communicating on LinkedIn, communicating with email. We warm up new servers. I mean, we don't get into the technical of it, but we get very, very, very good traction with that.
Wow. And I want to be clear, B2B or B2C?
B2B, only B2B. And only B2B, let me clarify that too. If you're selling a B2B product and, your customer value isn't more than, say, $5,000, I'm not saying it won't work. It's just not what we're focusing on because what we found that or above, what we charge is so insignificant, it's a joke. We annihilate any other medium. So that's why we're doing that. Maybe down the track when we've reached all the B2B and all, maybe we'll expand it. But that's a good thing to clarify. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to go back even before when you started. I didn't want to interrupt you. You were like, how awful it's been over the past couple of years. Dig into that. What do you mean by?
Well, I mean, and when I say that, I'm mainly talking about like My Movies, it's an info marketing company, right? And it's like, it was unbelievably successful and kind of a really, 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 really nice business to run for like until 4 years ago, really 5 years ago, obviously COVID wrecked everything, but it wasn't that year, it was after that. And it wasn't just it was economy, it was fear, it was all these kinds of things going on. But I think then around then the introduction with AI, it started to change things a lot too. But that's just, I mean just generally, if you've got an educational anything business online, you've really, really felt it. You know, everyone thought 24 was the worst year. It could never get any worse. Last year was even worse. This year, I think, is even worse. So it's like, again, that's what I'm saying. Well, let's come up with something that actually works, you know?
Well, and there's, again, that's the entrepreneurial story, right? And that people don't give credit enough for all they hear. Most people have heard or thought about that ride. Like if you look at the bio that, again, I always joke around with my client, with my guests that we come up with you, that I never look at after, because it's a conversation we're having here, but in there, it's like, hey, it's grown to over 80 million bucks, whatever the number is. People only see and hear and think about that part. Right? Yeah. And they view maybe you're riding high, like you said earlier, cars and travel and houses and all those things. You gotta, shit changes, and you got to either adapt or fold up shop. Yeah. Right. And, and again, you got your speakeasies and other things else that I wasn't sure when you said how bad things were, that because you're in that digital marketing world where the AI has negatively affected some folks that aren't jumping on board, right? Because there's some irrelevance and some obsolescence that can come into play. So I wasn't sure where you're headed with that. But that lesson, that's a real entrepreneurial lesson of, hey, and you just said it, 2026, we're 2 months in, and you're like, it might get worse.
Yeah. I mean, the beginning of the year, and this is always by far, we used to always do at least 50% of our overall revenue, good, but bad, in the first quarter, If it's not good now,
yeah,
not going to get better, But it really is AI. It's like I said, our last event, we focused very much on this. And basically, the long and the short of it is this. In buying behavior, people identify, and Google knew this back in 2011, by the way. So the algorithm, it's an algorithm thing too. But basically, a buyer, say they first touch, second touch, third touch, however many touches, most people think, and believe me, I thought, the last touch is the person they buy from, because this is built that, right? The curiosity, the awareness, now they know they can solve a problem, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's actually not true. It's actually what they do. It's the company or the brand that they connect with, whether it's the first, the second, the third, whichever one that they connect with, realize they can solve a problem, right? Realize that maybe this person could be it. Maybe they don't buy then. 85 or something % of the time, most people will come back and buy from that person or that brand, right? Historically. Last year, beginning of last year, that changed. Google realized this isn't what's happening. What's happening is people are getting that connection, that thing from AI most of the time now. So what does that mean? You go, so all right, well, they just still buy from a brand. No. They actually think they can solve it themselves now, even though, of course, they can't. Like if our programs are coaching certification, because you can't do that with AI. You can't run a business. You can't be the business. You can help you with it. But doesn't matter what reality is. People feel that, oh, well, I got the thing from AI. It means I can solve it. So, I mean, it's a pivot we got to make. I wish I knew it a year ago. We've got to now in our marketing, we've got to address AI. It's amazing. Not poo-poo AI, right? This is amazing. Great tool for your business, blah, blah, blah. But this is where you still need this. This is where you still need human interaction. This is where so on and so forth. So address it, then shift to try to get across that this thing I'm offering, AI cannot do. It's impossible, right? That's a very brief version of a couple of hours of conversation about that topic.
Right. Well, I mean, again, you can either run scared or you can understand where the human element still brings it together. People can learn a lot from AI, but they can't possibly do a great number of things. The human capital is still necessary. So again, instead of running from it, how do we actually implement it, use it for our best selves, and not to do away with employees, but to raise up our current ones, right?
Well, it really is. I mean, yeah, I hate to say that if employees are listening, but man, if you're an employee and you're not completely embracing AI, I hate to tell you, you're not going to have a job. Whether it's now, next year, the year after, you're not going to have a job because it is replacing everything. So as entrepreneurs, we have to embrace it. We have to use it. We have to maximize it.
Mm-hmm.
Community's never going away.
Right.
I see, in my humble opinion, obviously two of my businesses are masterminds, but
yeah,
if you don't have, but it's not just community. If you don't have community and then be leveraging AI tools to give even more value to those members,
mm-hmm.
a few years from now, I don't know if you'll still be around either,
Right.
So you really need to do both, you really need to do both. I think anyway.
No, absolutely. How about you on a personal level? So now you're, we talked about, 19 years ago, you found out really how I can really run a business, have the success that most would see financially, but then time and all that. And you got quite a few irons in the fire now. What's your role in those companies?
Depends. I mean, in mine, maybe I'm still the co-founder and CEO. I still run that from obviously I'm not in the weeds day to day, haven't been for a very long time. Flight Club, I mean, I'm the main face. I'm the main person in that. Literally my business partner in business and life and everything is the coordinator and my co-host. So that business runs with some help at the events, but truly I don't have any employees. I have one other VA. I love that about that business. I'm very, very, very involved in that business, but it's kind of like, it's the reason I don't mind it because it's the stuff I like to do. It's like having conversations like this,
Right.
Speakeasy, I'm more of, this is more what I do, the day-to-day, the stuff, my partner more handles that side. So I, again, more do the stuff I enjoy, but I'm nowhere near the weeds to say that I am.
Yep.
And with Get Qualified Leads, I mean, it's a new startup. I have one partner. We have a few salespeople. So I'm still very involved in that more than I want to be, more than I want to be long term. But I mean, I know how to start this, get it making money, prove all the concepts. So yeah, kind of different in all those. I couldn't be full on involved in those three. There's just no way. I'm busier than I want to be now. So
yeah. No, and I guess that, I mean, that again, because I love bringing it back to, so many different versions of entrepreneur, right? There's the single person that's doing service. There's, ones that scale and grow it to 100,000 employees. And there's everywhere in between. And there's some that are silent. There are some that are dabbling and just providing strategy. And, the getting the secret sauce of where your time doesn't get overrun and overtaken by the business.
Sure.
Right. So I love hearing that and be able to show examples. And each and every one of those, you were very key to point out that, you can't just do that. You have a business partner. You get to do what you love to do. And you have the business partner or someone else that's doing the other stuff.
Yeah.
And or managing it, right? This isn't you'll never get anywhere being a solo man's game.
No, and you know what? I mean, obviously we all learn it at some point, but having to let go and good enough is good enough. I mean, we all got to go through that lesson. I had to go through it a few times, to be honest, but I dealt with that a long time. So now it's like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to do it all. No, I'm allergic to it now.
Yeah.
To do what I don't think I'm good at. I don't have to work it out. But, of course, that comes with a bit more experience and obviously a bit more success, right? A little bit more of a cushion money-wise. You can do that. When you're in the startup, I mean, you're just doing it all, that's what you've got to do to get things
right.
Moving,
And, which is part of my mission in life is to hopefully accelerate Most of my learning has been from bruising my knees and skinning my knees, my shins. And the sooner we can help someone get those realizations before it ruins a marriage or their own health or bury a business, right? That's certainly that's my mission.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. So one, that's fantastic. And you've gotten me intrigued. And I'll be honest, right? I'm a part of a number of different groups and, in so many things that I do, and not just from a networking perspective, from me trying to learn and be a sieve, because I feel like you're never going to have it all figured out.
Sure.
But again, like I said, the reason I say mastermind is just used often because again, I'm getting either invited to or something.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
And you help me put a really good filter in what one would make sense, right? You got to have some outside voices, but also that peer driven group. So.
And the other thing, and I hear this from other people. It still fascinates me but there's different kinds too. Like there's the lower level, let's just say, which is for a lower level. I mean, not derogatory, just a lower level entrepreneur that are bigger and they're there to learn from the guru. And nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Do I think it's a real mastermind? Not really, but whatever. There's that. Then there's the ones that are they're clearly there and they get people there for an agenda and they're pitching stuff. And it fascinates me that people still do this. Like it's Fish Fest and they're just people, they have all the presentations are sponsors. I'm like, people pay money to come to this. Like,
so
there's all of those. And I love hearing that stuff because I'm like, people go, oh my God, yours is nothing like that. I go, of course it's nothing like that. But there is all those different kinds. And you're right. I mean, we've all been to the ones where you're the smartest person in the room. It might be good for the ego for 5 minutes. And then you're like, oh, geez, I'm paying to teach people. Teach everyone, not, but there's some feet. No, I mean, everyone's done. I've been for a very long time been in that.
Right. And actually, that's the realization of we're all at different levels, right? Yeah. And being real and know when to do that. One last thing I'd love to end with is again, through all the experiences you've had, and this can be personal or business, is what is a mistake, a failure, some call it, again, those that understand, it's called a learning, that you've had that you'd be vulnerable to share and that others can learn from?
I mean, let's start at step one. I didn't have this problem, but everyone does. Procrastination is the biggest killer, the biggest number one killer. I've always been a ready, fire, aim guy. Now, believe me, that hasn't always served me.
Yeah.
But overall, a million times better than that, than procrastinate and get nothing done. So I always say to people, what's the most important thing? Take a step. If you've got 5 ideas, pick the worst one, fail fast, learn something, move on, right? You got to have that resilience though to do that, right? That confidence. Outside of that, mistakes that I make that I think every entrepreneur makes, or nearly everyone, we get into something, we have some success, and of course, shiny object. Entrepreneurs are built this way. Oh, opportunity. And we don't focus. We don't drill deep. We go wide. I mean, I made this mistake. I had very fast success online, but I mean, I did do this. So I would say if one thing I really did, I would have focused even more on the one thing and really got that going. Multiple pillars of income, right? Whatever that means, and focused. The other part with that is, and I got this from Dean Graziosi like years ago. He said, you've got to think of another opportunity. If you're busy as you want to be, think about an opportunity as a book. You've got your bookshelf behind you. It's full. Every book is an opportunity that you're working on, right? No matter what that is, if it's 2 hours a day or 10 hours a day, whatever it is. And when someone comes to your desk and says, "Hey, great," we go, "Yeah, I'll make time." We've all done it, right? Still probably do it. Even knowing this, we still do it.
Yeah.
What Deems it goes, just think of it. I got to remove a book to fit this book in. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I literally used to have pasted on my computer, breathe on one side and the other side. I did this for years. The last thing I need today is another great idea. Took me a few years to be able to do that. But, so when I heard this, I'm like, oh my God, this is so true. So you get the point to all that.
Yeah.
Stay focused. Don't get distracted.
Yes.
Drill. You got something to work. Drill deep till that thing is so solid on autopilot before you think about something else.
You know what? That snippet right there, I need to go back for the last 60 seconds and I record, we're going to kick that snippet. And I've got a handful of clients where I can't, it's the same thing where I love ideas and I love innovation, but we got to finish this thought before we move on to the other one. And that churn just is continual.
Yep.
So again, we all hear that way. Again, like you said, we all know it. We all hear it in a different way. And it's the one way, like you said, for you, it was that bookshelf analogy. Oh my God, I finally get it. Right. We've heard so many different analogies in different ways. And until it hits us, or or it hits us in the wrong way, then it doesn't take. So
I remember when I heard that from Dean, it was at an event. And when it's like if you're reading something, watching a video, watching a speak, and they're talking right to you, you feel that way, right? It was like that. And this was the funny part. He goes, guys, it's fine. It was like 700 people in the room. We're all entrepreneurs and we're all the freaking same. And I was like, what does he mean? And then he gave this analogy and I'm like, oh God, is everyone like this? I didn't know. I really didn't know. Yeah. It was probably my third or fourth year that I'd been on in that business.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, because we all are the same. I've realized that. It's like a bit of imposter syndrome. We all have that at some level, right?
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Man, what a nugget all throughout, Glenn. So thank you for opening my mind up to some things. And I truly believe we've opened up some other folks. And I also want to make sure this be a sounding board, a voice to help you get the word out. So how do people get in touch with or get connected more to the masterminds and also the new AI tool?
Yeah, well, honestly, firstly, I'm very, very contactable. All the social media channels, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Instagram, Facebook. It's me, right? It's not my assistant, it really is me. LinkedIn, obviously. But outside of that, flightclubmastermind.com, if it's something that maybe resonates, go check out the site. The site's designed to give you a feel for what it's about. If it resonates, there's a way you can apply there. And, if you apply and we have a call and, you can maybe get a free invitation to come and check that out. Speakeasy similar, speakeasymastermind.com. And the lead stuff is just getqualifiedleads.ai, where there you can go there, book a call. But like I said, if you just want to reach out to me, just reach out to me anyway.
Awesome.
By the way, all my handles are just my name. On IG, it's not cool to have. I never got that memo. Maybe it's my age. It's just Glen Ledwell everywhere.
Yeah, I hate it when someone's like, "Look me up." I'm like, "No, just if it's your name, then I know you." I'm not trying some other handle.
Yeah,
anyway. But I appreciate that. Well, Glenn, this has been fantastic. Great nuggets. Wish you the best, and I feel like we'll be in touch soon. So,
thank you, mate. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
All right, thanks. That's a wrap.
Thanks for tuning into The Roll Call with John Glen. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe for more insightful conversations. Remember, discovering your true role in life is a journey worth exploring each and every day. Until next time, keep defining your path and living your authentic self. This is John Glen signing off.